Hey, let's check out this week's high school football schedule. Here's the game that everybody's going to be keeping an eye on.
Yep.
Hononegah now has their back up against the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
They lose that game. I don't know if I'm Auburn, if I want to play them after they lost, because there'll probably be some changes, but it'll be a good game, Auburn and Hononegah.
I think this will be a good game. It will be a dogfight. I mean, these two, it's going to be just old school football, I think. I think you're going to have a big-time physical game. The winner still has a shot at conference because both teams still have to play Harlem, so the winner still has a good shot at conference. The loser is more than likely out of it.
Just like Belvedere North, that was a tough loss last night. So.
Yeah, obviously some things could happen. I don't know who Freeport has left, or Guilford. But maybe they could knock somebody off. Belvedere obviously could knock somebody off along the way.
Well, Belvedere plays Harlem, I'm sure Harlem is aware of them. now.
I'm sure they absolutely are. So I mean, the loser isn't absolutely out of it, just depending how things go. But the loser's not in very good shape. So I think you're going to have both teams fighting hard for a win, and I think that's going to be a physical, probably even a chippy game at some points.
And I'm not sure exactly when the last time Harlem won the Nick Tim, but I think it was in the 90s. I don't think they
98.
Won? 98.
Or no, 97.
97. They had a good year in basketball.
I don't know. I don't think they won it in between then or not.
Yeah. I'm trying to look on the banner. I'm trying to remember on the banner. I have a shot of it, but I didn't.
97, they were a co-champion.
So they've never won in the 2000s. So this would
not that I'm aware of. Yeah. I could be wrong. There could be one of those years in the early 2000s that they did. Before Boylan started ripping them up, but I don't think they did. I think 97 was the last time.
And I can just hear Jim Morrow, first thing in practice. Belvedere beat Hononegah, buddy.
Hey, and that's all he said after the game. He's like, what do you guys got to do the rest of the season? We got to beat Belvedere. That's all we've got to do right now is beat Belvedere. After that, we'll worry about the rest of it after that,
And the game is probably going to be a really good one. Belvedere North is at Guilford. Guilford shut out Boylan last night. First time, I think, 10 years. And Belvedere North, that's a hard loss on Friday night.
Big game for North. They've had 2 weeks in a row where they've had physical games, lost by 3 points, been right in it. They've got to find a way to bounce back, respond. There's still playoffs that you can fight for. There's still an outside shot in this conference, I think, that 2 losses could maybe do something for you. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's still a shot that it could happen. They have to respond because I do think they're one of the best teams in the conference. I mean, they've showed it beating Auburn. They showed it being right there with Hononegah. They showed it being right there with Harlem. They're one of the best teams. I mean, they're a mistake from Harlem against Harlem away from probably still being right there with 1 loss.
If they would have won, we'd have had something.
Yeah, but they've got to bounce back now, and it's a good Guilford team that they got to try to do it against.
Yeah, Guilford, that was a big win for them. A team that if I told you a couple years ago would have been 0-5, well, they're 0-5. Boylan is on the road at Freeport, and Freeport's playing really good football
right now. They're playing real good. They're going to be licking their chops, kind of like Guilford was this week. A chance to beat Boylan, something Freeport hasn't done in a while either. I mean, obviously most teams haven't done it in a while, unless you got them last year because they had that long winning streak.
Yeah.
But big game for Freeport. I mean, you get that one, you've got your 4th win. You're just a win away now from qualifying for the playoffs, and they would have a shot at that point to even start playing for seeding. If they could pick up a 6th win somewhere, avoid one of those top teams in whatever class they end up in, maybe 5A. There's a lot of good things that could happen there.
And next week, Rockford City Challenge game. East is at Jefferson. I think East is ready for a win.
Yeah, they've been playing good
Jefferson's
football.
Still struggling a little bit. So that'll be a good one, too. We're talking about it earlier. Rockford Lutheran is at Mendota. And maybe that's the day
good chance, I think, that James Robinson breaks the record there.
Yeah.
I think they'll even play him maybe a little bit longer into the second half. If he's close enough, which he probably will be, I think they'll play him to try to break the record next week. And then pull him back a little bit the last 3 weeks to try to get ready for the playoffs.
Other big Northern West games, Oregon's at Byron, Dixon's at Winnebago, Rock Falls is at Stillman Valley. Christian Life is at Chicago Hope. They'll have their hands full.
Tough game for them.
Because they've lost 2 games already in the conference.
Yeah,
so.
and other than Chicago Hope, they should win the rest of them, but that's a tough game. A team that probably is going to end up winning that conference this year.
I think the NUIC's taking a week off. There's really nothing.
Yeah, for Lewin and Dakota, they both have games that they can kind of, they'll show up to play, but they can both kind of relax in those games. Even Galena's doesn't have a tough one. East Dubuque at Forest and could be interesting, but kind of an off week for them. And usually got 2 highly ranked teams going against each other, so kind of an off week for them.
Yeah, it's kind of a yawner week for them.
Exactly.
And the big Northern East, Richmond Burton's at Rockford Christian. They still haven't won a game. and Harvard is at North Boone. A lot of teams are eliminated now from the playoffs because they can't pick up that
I tell you
win.
what, dude, after next week, we're really going to be spending a lot of time on playoffs, I think, because now you're going to have teams that not only have the 5, but have the 6. You'll have teams that have 4. You'll have some teams sitting at 3 and 3 trying to fight for that playoff spot.
Some teams start playoff next week.
After next week, I think that's when it really starts getting interesting.
Yep, you start doing playoffs early, just like Byron did last year.
Exactly.
Well, that's going to wrap up a busy week, thanks to Beloit Memorial head soccer coach Brian Deneau. Jeez Louise!
Great interview.
Yeah, he was a good guy, and we appreciate him coming on. So we'll see you next week. More high school football, more sports from around the state.